Hey there, I'm Tristan Bellerive. In this video, I'm going to share with you most of what I know about scales and how they relate to the guitar fretboard. So you'll see in the description box below timestamps if you want to skip to a particular section. We'll be covering a lot of information in this lesson. And there's also an ebook that has some really helpful diagrams and additional commentary. All right, okay, so what is a scale? A scale is a series of notes from one to its octave, and a good scale to start with is the chromatic scale, which is made up entirely of half steps and contains all 12 notes of the Western musical system. Playing a scale on one string of the guitar helps to visualize how it is constructed. To play a chromatic scale, we choose a starting point and play each sequential note until we reach an octave above where we started. This scale has kind of a crawling up a staircase sound to it because of its half-step motion. The chromatic scale can be an excellent tool for building technique. One approach is to begin in the first position, assigning each finger to a fret, move up to the 5th position, then the 9th, and finally reaching to fret 13 to complete the octave. Combine this with alternate picking to help synchronize both the left and the right hands. The whole tone scale is a perfectly symmetrical scale and is made up entirely of whole steps. It has kind of a spacey sound to it. Although both the chromatic and whole tone scales are simple and symmetrical in how they are built, they are not utilized nearly as much for creating chords and melodies as our next scale, the major scale. It's been called the mother of all scales and provides the fundamental building blocks for melody and harmony. I like to call it the standard unit of measurement in music. There is a continuum of notes that spans many octaves, and we have a fairly complex labeling system. There are 7 letters of the alphabet and modifiers called sharps and flats to account for the rest. The major scale brings a kind of order and way to both name and measure the relationships between the notes. We use the major scale to assign scale degree numbers to each note. The solfege system of do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is another popular way to name these sounds. This is how we build a major scale on one string. Starting from our first note, we'll ascend a whole step to the major second, another whole step to the major third, a half step to what we call the perfect fourth, a whole step to the perfect fifth, whole step to the major sixth, one more whole step to the major seventh, and finally a half step to complete the octave. It's important to recognize that the sound of the major scale is created using this sequence of steps and will be true no matter what note we start on. It's good to memorize the major scale formula. Think 2 wholes and a half, 3 wholes and a half. It's very common for teachers of music theory to begin with the C major scale because it contains no sharps or flats and can easily be played using only the white keys of the piano. It's also fairly easy to play on a single string of the guitar and clear to see that the notes E and F are just 1 fret apart, and same for B and C. The work of a guitar player is to discover the many different ways we can play the same scale. Although playing on one string is a useful way to understand how a scale is built, the real mystery of the guitar is the way the 6 strings work together to make music. And the work of a proficient guitar player is in discovering the shapes and forms that exist on the fretboard to help give us the freedom to find the notes we are looking for. So next we're going to take a look at how to play scales using multiple strings. So we can play a scale on a single string just like we can climb a mountain by hiking straight to the top, you know. But it's not always super practical, and most of the times we're using kind of like a series of switchbacks to kind of zigzag our way up and down a scale. So traditionally guitarists begin to learn scales in what's called open position. This means the open strings will be utilized to play available notes in the scale, and the fret numbers and finger numbers track together. So let's play a C major scale starting on the 5th string, fret 3, meaning we're going to use finger 3. and that'll give us our note C. We'll cross over to the D string to play the notes D, E, and F. Then we'll jump to the G string for the notes G and A, followed by a switch to the B string where we grab notes B and C to complete the octave. So descending is a little bit trickier. Try to visualize the scale form and imagine the notes on the fretboard. So descending would go C, B, cross to the next string A, and then open G, cross again for F, E, D, and C. When the scale form is well established and we're able to play ascending and descending with relative ease, we can start to learn tunes, run exercises, and work out different picking combinations. Here's a good exercise to see how and why accidentals, sharps and flats are introduced to each key. So remember the major scale formula, 2 wholes and a half, 3 wholes and a half. When we start on the note C, we just skip all of those sharps and flats. So now we're going to see how we start bringing those in. So if we start with our open G string, we'll build a G major scale using only notes on this string so you can really see it. So G is the 1, whole step to A, it's major second, whole step to B, the major third, half step to C, the perfect fourth, whole step to D, the perfect fifth, whole step to E, the major sixth. Now since we need another whole step in the major scale formula, we're going to jump over F natural and land on F sharp. And then we get our last half step that brings us to G to complete the octave. So watch what happens when we build a major scale starting on the open D string. We'll land on the same fret numbers as before because we're following the same order of whole and half steps. So we'll preserve that F sharp that we picked up from the key of G and introduce a new sharp at the 7th degree. So here we go. Here's our D, whole step to E, whole step to F sharp, half step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, another whole step, and this is going to give us our next sharp. This is C sharp, and then half step to D. Let's do one more on the A string. So what we're doing is we're collecting sharps as we go around what is called the circle of fifths or the circle of fourths, beginning a new major scale from the 5th degree of the previous. So here we are at A for 1, whole step to B, whole step to C sharp, half step to D, whole step to E, whole step to F sharp, whole step to G sharp, and then a half step to A to complete the octave. Again, looking at scales on one string is helpful to see the theory of it, but it doesn't complete the whole picture of how we'll actually be using this to play music and practice and performance. So next I'm going to demonstrate 7 common major scales in open position, calling out the note names as I go. So feel free to use this as a guide for your practice. I've chosen to actually include the standard notation in the ebook for this section only, because I believe it is useful, especially for students. But after we run these, we're going to continue the rest of the lesson with fretboard patterns and making use of diagrams and the number system. Here's C major in open position, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Now going down, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. G major in open position will have 2 full octaves here, going up, low G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. Keep going, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. All right, coming down now, high G, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, G. Going on, F sharp, E, D, C, B, A, and G. D major in open position, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And coming down, D, C sharp, B, A, G, F sharp, E, D. A major in open position, the key of 3 sharps. Here we go. A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And coming down, A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D, C sharp, B, A. E major in open position, we'll get 2 full octaves. Here's our lowest E string, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, E. It's our first octave. Going on, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and E. Okay, then coming down the scale, high E, D sharp, C sharp, B, A, G sharp, F sharp, E, D sharp, C sharp, B, A, G sharp, F sharp, E. Okay, here's F major in open position. This is the key of 1 flat. Going up, we start on F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. It's our first octave. Going on, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. Okay, and coming down the scale, F, E, D, C, B flat, A, G, F, E, D, C, B flat, A, G, F. And finally, B flat in open position, the key with 2 flats. Going up, B flat, C, D, E flat, F, G, A, B flat. And coming down, B flat, A, G, F, E flat, D, C, B. Flat. B flat. The guitar is a great instrument to see how all major scales are constructed in the same way. We've already seen this by playing on a single string, and now we're going to see how a scale can be formed on the fretboard without using any open strings, essentially becoming a movable structure that can be shifted up and down the length of the string to easily change key. If we take the B flat major scale form that we learned in open position and pretend like we have to fret the open strings, we would get a finger formation that looks like this. So I'm using my second finger on the first fret for B flat, and then pinky. Now I'm going to pretend like the nut of the guitar is just another fret, even though this is an open string. There's D, and then I'll use my second finger for E flat. Pinky's going to reach up for F. Again, pretend like I have to fret this note, this open G. A, and B flat. Okay, it kind of feels strange to do this. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this whole rig and we're going to move it onto the fretboard. Okay, so if we shift this here to what is the first position and we play that same formation, we're going to get the B major scale. So we'll get a B here, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, and B. Shifting the scale form up another half step higher, we get C major. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. So it's the very same scale, the same pitches that we played in the very beginning in open position. Okay, but we've played it here, utilizing this string set and cutting out all the open strings. You see? So the major scale formula is still the same, it's just a little bit trickier to see when we cross strings. So here's our C. Easy to see the whole step, right? From C to D. This is also a whole step when we go from here to here. Right, so it's good to start recognizing these intervals and the shape of them, what they look like under our fingers. So that's a whole step. It's a bit of a stretch. D to E. Then once we're here, we can see that we just have a half step to F, a whole step to G, and then again, we need to make a whole step, and it's going to look like that. To our A, whole step to B, half step to C. So you can see that we're free to access many different keys with just one scale form. You got C, move it up, you got D flat. Move it up again, you get D. It's pretty cool. So a lot of musicians, myself included, prefer to think and communicate in scale degree numbers. In some ways, this can simplify the process of understanding scales and most definitely help with developing ear training and establishing relative pitch. So our C major scale, instead of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, is reduced to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 again. So this can be really helpful if, say, you're playing in D flat. So I'll just move this up one half step. Now I'm going to play in D flat, but instead of thinking D flat, E flat, F, we can again think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Developing a really solid connection of major scale forms on the guitar fretboard along with their scale degrees will help us understand how other scales relate to this fundamental system. Next, we're going to look at nearly all of the movable major scale forms that I would recommend getting familiar with. We'll start with the ones I tend to favor and believe are the most useful. Then we'll cover the 7 forms taught at Berklee School of Music and take a brief look at the C.A.G.E.D method and how to derive scales from common open position chords that most guitar players learn when they first start out. Okay, before we jump into this next section, I just want to take a minute and recognize that this is a lot of material, and I don't want you to feel like you have to master it all in one sitting. So I'm just going to give you hopefully some helpful tips to help you strategize your practice routine. Okay, so number one is have a routine. Have a daily routine and a way that you're working this into your practice. I'd recommend that just taking one scale form a day and just really diving into it and giving the brain a chance to absorb it. Next, apply the knowledge. So learn a tune. You can set up a backing track and just work out whatever scale pattern you're working with and just kind of explore it, be creative with it. Next, memorize the C major scale covering the entire fretboard. So that should definitely be the first part of your strategy. I think if you know where all of the natural notes are, the white keys of the piano, essentially, you'll be able to easily find the sharps and flats in between them. Work from a method book. So there's a lot of great books out there. The ones that I tend to use with students are the William Levitt Modern Method for Guitar. This has been around forever. Used to be kind of standard curriculum at Berklee. And there's just really beautiful pieces in here, and just very thoroughly works through different scales and gets you very familiar with them. Another book would be the Hal Leonard Complete Guitar Edition. This just has a lot of very traditional melodies, things that we've all probably heard at some point in our life, and that's really key. Playing melodies on your guitar and seeing the major scale in action, or any of these scales. Next, learn major scale tunes. Yeah, so like old-timey fiddle tunes, hymns, jingles from advertisements, lullabies, popular songs. You're just going to hear this scale used throughout popular music. So, you know, sit down with your guitar and try to pick some of them out by ear. It's a really good thing to do. Next, play in different keys and positions. So this is especially important if you're working with a singer and maybe you need to change key, right? You can use these movable scale forms to shift things into a different key. If you're handy with a capo, that's another good tool to use as well. And then finally, sing as you play. So, you know, music is an art form of sound. So as guitar players, we tend to hear with our eyes, relying too much on the patterns. So take some time to kind of close your eyes and sing the notes that you're playing. All right. So make a plan for yourself. And here we go into this just total barrage of scale forms.
Alrighty, first we'll go over the major scale forms I recommend starting with. These will all be in C major. I'll flash an image of the fretboard diagram on the screen, and then I'll run the scale up and down. So feel free to pause and study the pattern. All of the forms presented here will be in the ebook as well. Okay, so let's get going. So the first one we've done already. This is C major in open position. I'm going to call out the note names, and then one more time call out the scale degree numbers. Okay? Let's go. C major in open position. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Going down. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Okay, and now the scale degree numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Then coming down, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, next up is C major in second position. Right here. Starting with C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then going down, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Scale degree numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then coming down, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, next here's the upper octave of C major in fifth position. Okay, we have the notes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And then coming down, C, B, E, G, F, E, D, C. Make the connection that B and C are just one half step apart. The same thing for E and F. It's always going to be true. Okay, let's go back now. We'll do scale degrees. Here's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then coming down, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, here's 2 octaves of C major in 5th position. This is actually the same form as the G major scale in open position. We're just bringing it onto the fretboard and adjusting our fingerings to the fact that we're not playing any open strings. Okay, so here we go. We've got C all the way down on fret 8 of the low E string, and then D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, and now we're back to the form we just did a minute ago, so we'll continue on. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Coming down, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Reach for B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Okay, and now the scale degree numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Going on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then coming down 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Reach for 7. That's a half step right there. You see how stretchy it is? Again, much easier to see if you're just on one string. Okay, anyway, so here's our 1 again. Down to 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This next one's my favorite. It's a 2-octave major scale pattern with no stretching. We are in position 7 and starting on the note C. Okay, so you're going to use finger 2 to start this one. All right, here we go. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It's your first octave. And then going on, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, and then coming down now, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Okay, and scale degree numbers here in position 7 for major scale. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And then coming down, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Finally, we're going to run a 3-note per string pattern. We'll be breaking some rules here and playing out of position at times. We're going to start in 9th position, but stretching our first finger back to grab this C on fret 8. Okay, so here we go. Here's C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Okay, this is all out of 9th position. All right, do that again. Okay, continuing on D, E, F, G. Okay, now we're going to switch and shift up to the 10th position to complete this. Here's A on fret 10, B on fret 12, and C on 13. Okay, we had to shift so we can preserve this 3 notes per string deal, right? Here it is kind of quickly. Okay, now we'll come down the scale. C, B, A. Okay, switch back to 9th position. G, F, E, D, C. And then B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Okay, and for good measure, let's run our scale degree numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, shifting, 6, 7, 1, and then coming back down, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, good work if you're staying with me. I know this is kind of tedious, but if you do this, it's really going to help everything. Okay, good. Okay, we're looking at Berklee scales. These are the 7 forms of the major scale that are taught first year at Berklee College of Music. So I'm hoping to help out some college students with this one, and really any guitar nerd who just wants to geek out on scale forms. So I'm going to be running these in the key of F major. Okay, but I'm not going to be calling out the note names. I'm only going to be calling out the scale degree numbers. And just like before, I'll flash the diagram on the screen. Always take a moment to just study that, try to get that image in your mind, and then I'm going to run the scale up and back. Okay, here we go. Here's major scale from the first degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And coming down, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now we're going to look at the major scale from the second degree. Here's the form on the screen. So because we're starting on the second note of the scale, it's not going to sound like a major scale initially, okay, because we're not starting on 1, all right? So it's not going to be whole, whole, half, 3 wholes and a half. It's going to be something different. And we'll talk in a later section about what's going on here in the section called modes. But for right now, let's go ahead and try to get this image of the form in our head, and I'll run the scale numbers up and back. Okay, starting on 2. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. Okay, let's start on 2 again and come down. 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Maybe your ear wants to hear this. The completion of the major scale right down to 1, all right? So a good thing to do within these forms that don't start on 1 is to find your 1, play the major scale, the pure major scale. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, then you can continue up the form. You also have these notes available. Remember, notes on the high E string will track the same as the low E string. I didn't include these in the diagram, but just be aware that they're there. And then you can come down the scale. And then go back up to 1. Okay, if you really want to see how the major scale is fitting inside of this form. Okay? Next up is major scale from the 3rd degree. Okay, here's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. And then coming down 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Okay, and then playing from 1 to 1 to get our F major scale, we'll start here on 1 and then go up and back down. Okay, this is a pretty handy form. I like this one a lot. Very ergonomic. Okay, good. Next up, moving on to major scale from the 4th degree. Okay, so here's our 4th degree here. 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then 4 again coming down. 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4. Okay, and if we find our major scale from 1 to 1 inside of this form, we get this. Here's our 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Okay, we did this earlier on in the lesson all the way back down in, I think we started at B flat and went up a bit. All right, it's that form from earlier. But now we're in the key of F. Okay, good. Next up is major scale from the 5th degree. Here is 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 again. 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5. All right, and our major scale inside of this form, we got to find 1. It's right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. This one's a little stretchy. Okay, good. Okay, next we have major scale from the 6th degree. 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. and then coming down the scale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6. Okay, and then let's find our major scale inside of this form, starting with 1. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Hopefully you're making the connection of these forms, these Berklee forms, from the ones we did earlier. Okay, a lot of them are the same. All right, cool. So there's major scale from the 6th degree. And finally, we have major scale from the 7th degree. Here we are at 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 again coming down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 7. Okay, and then major scale starting at 1 looks like this. Okay, we can continue on. Okay, good. That's all of them. Nice job. All right, we're going to take a look at the C.A.G.E.D method now and just how that applies to major scales. If you've been doing all these scale forms up to this point, I just want to take a second and just say congratulations for putting some good work in. You know, this is a lot. Okay, so this is how the C.A.G.E.D method works. You take chords that we already know in open position: C, A, G, E, and D. Okay, and we take the scale forms from each of those keys. All right, so C major, we got this. Play a C major chord. Okay, so that scale, that version of that scale, is called the C form, because it's most closely related to this C major chord. Okay, we're going to use the capo to help us out here. The next letter in the acronym C.A.G.E.D is A. Okay, so I'm going to put a capo on fret 3. I'm going to play an A major chord. Okay, looks like an A major. Because of the capo, it's sounding as a C. All right, from here I can play my A major scale form that we did earlier. Okay, what we want to do though is, it's nice to have the capo, but can we do that without the capo? We're going to play the same notes, but all the open strings we're going to play with our index finger, okay, our finger capo. All right, so here we go. We've got our A major scale form. Okay, sounding as C major. You can play your chord too. Okay, next up, we've got G. Go ahead and put a capo on fret 5, and we're going to play our G major scale form. Looks like this. And go ahead and play a G chord if you like. Okay, take the capo off, see if we can do it without the capo. We did this form earlier. Looks like this. Feels a lot different without the capo, but it's the same thing. Kind of hard to play that G chord like this, but there it is. Okay, after G, we have E. Let's go ahead and put a capo on fret 8. Okay, here's our E major form. Looks like an E major chord, but it's sounding as C because of the capo. Okay, we can play our E major scale form rather. take the capo off, we'll try that again. So there's some kind of overlap between a lot of these forms. You know, I kind of think about this more as like an F form personally, but you know, for the purposes of the word caged, we'll go with E. Okay, and we've done this one before. All right, and then finally we have the D form of the C.A.G.E.D method. So all the way up here on fret 10, go ahead and make a little D chord. Okay, it's sounding as a C way up here. We can play our D major scale form. And there we go, we have a C major scale, but we're pretending like we're playing at a D. Okay, and then without the capo, it would look something like this. And that's it. So the cool thing about the C.A.G.E.D method is all those forms in that order, C-A-G-E-D, can be shifted and moved into different keys. Okay, so if we take our first one, our C form of C, we can move that onto the fingerboard. We got to reorder our fingers now, no open strings, and we can play a D major scale. And we call that the C form of D. Next up, we would go to the A form, and so forth and so on. That's basically how the C.A.G.E.D method works and how it applies to major scales anyhow. All right, have fun with that one. Okay, let's take a look at minor scales now. So just like anything in music, we can think about things in different ways. I'm going to take the minor scale and relate it directly to the major. Okay, so if we take, for example, A major, looks and sounds like this. And if we're thinking in numbers, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. To turn this A major scale into A minor, all we're going to do is we're going to lower the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th by a half step. Okay, so it becomes this. That's a flatted 3rd or a minor 3rd. And then that's a flatted 6 or a minor 6. And then a flatted 7, and then back to our 1. This is called the parallel minor. So we have A major, which is here. Change just those 3 notes, the 3rd, the 6th, and the 7th, and we have its parallel minor, A minor. Okay, so another way we can think about it, if we notice the notes in that scale, they're all natural notes. There's no sharps or flats. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. The other scale that we already know that has no sharps or flats is C major. So these two scales are said to be relative major and minors of each other. So A minor is the relative minor of C major. Okay, another way to think about it is if you play the C major scale from the 6th degree, what's going to happen is you're going to get a different order of steps, right? So let's check that out on the minor scale, A minor. We go whole step to B, half step to C, then whole step to D, whole step to E, half step to F, whole step to G, and then whole step to A. Okay, so you can think about it going from the 6th degree to the 6th degree again. The fastest way to find the relative minor on the guitar is just find your major note. Say we're in C major and we want to find its relative minor. We just go down 3 frets and we'll find its relative minor of A. This happens, this works for any key, right? So say if we're in G major, if we go down 3 half steps, we get E, and E will be the relative minor of G. So continuing with our note mapping and finding all of the white keys on the guitar, we're going to take A minor, relative minor of C, and we're going to run through some different positions. Okay, so here's A minor in open position. We just did it a minute ago. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And then going down, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. And And just like we did with the C major, let's run this thinking in terms of numbers. 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. And then back down again. 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, 1. So that's A minor in open position. Okay, let's go up to the second position. So here we can get 2 full octaves of A minor. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Start with our 4th finger on the 5th fret. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then going on A, B, C, D, E, reach back for F, G, and then finish with A. And then we'll go back down the scale, high A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Okay, let's run this in terms of numbers. We've got 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. Then our next octave, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. And then we'll come down, 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, 1. Continuing on, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, and 1. Okay, up next is the 5th position. This is one of my favorite for A minor, one of the first ones that I learned, really helped me map out notes in this middle region of the fretboard. Okay, so we have our first finger on fret 5, and we have A, B, C, then D, E, F, G, A. So these are the same pitches that we began with in open position. We just brought them up the fingerboard a little bit to the 5th. Okay, moving on from here, we have B reaching up to fret 7, and then fret 5 on the G string for your C, D, E, F, G, and A. A again will come down, A, G, F, E, D, C, reach for B, A, and then G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Okay, and then we'll run it in numbers. Ready? 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1, and then coming down, 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, 1. Okay, next we have the 7th position for A minor. I'm up here on fret 7 with my first finger, and it looks like this. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And then coming down, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. All right, and then running this scale in terms of numbers, we have 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. And then coming down, 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, and 1. And the last position we'll do for A minor is the 9th position. So 4th finger on fret 12 for A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. And then going down, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Okay, and now the numbers 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. 1 again, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, and 1. So I think it's worth mentioning that the guitar has a very unique tuning. All of the strings are tuned a fourth away from each other, except for the 2nd and 3rd strings. So this little quirk means that whenever we cross over the G string from below, we need to reach 1 fret higher than we might normally expect. So for example, let's compare these 2 positions of A minor to see what this looks like. Here's A minor again in the 5th position. So you can see we have this little pattern here. Okay, and we're constantly coming back to the 5th fret, right? In this pattern here. If we compare this to the shape that we have in 7th position in the upper octave, watch what happens when we cross over the G string. We start off the same, but we don't go. Okay, that wouldn't sound right, right? We have to reach 1 fret higher to access that G. Okay, so this kind of messes up all of our shapes and is a big hurdle for us guitar players to get over. But just remember that the tuning from the G string to the B string is a major 3rd. Okay, and all the other strings are tuned a 4th away, and that's why it can get a little confusing. Okay, we're going to take a look at modes now. So modes are really cool, a lot of fun to play. If we understand how relative majors and minors work, modes are going to be really easy to grasp. So it's simple. You take a major scale and you just start on a different degree. So we were looking at C major, and we learned that if you start on the 6th degree A, you get A minor. So because there's 7 notes in the major scale, we're going to have 7 modes. And the 2 primary ways we can look at this is you can look at a mode as like a child of the major scale, or you can look at it as kind of its own thing, its own identity. And what really helped me in learning the modes is that each one has a really defining note in it that gives it its character. And we're going to take a look at that as we run through the 7 forms here. And again, these are from Berklee College of Music. So each mode is only going to have 1 form. And also in this next segment, I'm kind of focusing more on improvisation. And I really encourage you to do that. Just take the mode and play with it and have fun. Okay, so here we go into modes of the C major scale. Okay, the first mode of the C major scale is called C Ionian, and it looks like this. And the scale degrees line up the same as the major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. That's our first octave. And then moving on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 again. And we have 2 and 3 up here if we want. Notice that we have 2 ways that we can grab the 5th degree. In this upper register, we can play it here, or we can play it here. Alright, and then let's just hear how this sounds over a C major bar chord in this same position. Just go ahead and play this chord and let it freeze. Okay, so here's the 1. Very resolved. Here's the 7. Here's the 6. Here's the 5. Okay, so we're going to hear how much more resolved the chord tones are coming out of this C major chord. Really a C major triad. The 1 and the 5. The 3. And of course the 1. Listen to the 4. You can maybe hear how that 4 clashes a bit against that 3. Some people might say that's an avoid note if you're improvising over a C major chord. It's up to you whether you want to avoid it or not. I think it sounds nice, but more in passing. Okay, if we keep coming down, here's our 2 in the lower register, and then 1 again, 7, 6, 5, here's the 4 down lower, the 3, the 2, and the 1. So once you have the whole image of this form pretty well established on your fretboard, in your mind, under your fingers, you can just kind of run it without thinking about it too much. Then go ahead and just put on a backing track just as simple as this, just a static C major chord, and improvise and really listen to these intervals and how they play over that chord. It's a good way of just getting some training, some ear training going. It's kind of fun. Okay, the second mode of the C major scale is called D Dorian, and it looks like this. The scale degrees are 1, 2, flat 3, also called a minor third. This is considered a minor mode because of that note. So 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and then 1 again. I think the defining tone of this mode is the 6th degree. As we'll improvise in a minute here, you can hear how that particular note plays against a D minor chord. So that's the 6, flat 7, and then we've completed our octave here. And we have another one to go. Here's 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, and then 1. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll freeze a D minor chord and give it a listen. Okay, here's our 1, flat 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You can really hear how that 6th note is different. Right there it is down there. 6 to 5, 4, 3, minor 3, 2, and 1. All right, that's Dorian. The third mode of the C major scale is called E Phrygian, and it looks like this. I'm way up on the 12th fret. I'm also going to show you in open position, okay, because they look very different using the open strings. Okay, but here it is, way up on fret 12. Go ahead and play along if you can reach all the way up. I've got my Telecaster here, so I can go all the way up here. Here we go. This is Phrygian. Coming back down. All right, so scale degrees go 1, flat 2, flat 3. Like this is another minor mode. 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1 again. So I believe the really defining notes of the Phrygian mode are that flat 2 and the flat 6. Of course, the flatted 3 makes it minor. If we keep going up from here, here's our 1 again, flat 2, minor 3rd, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then 1. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and freeze an E minor chord all the way up here. And we'll give a listen. Here's the 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, 3, flat 3, and 1. Sorry, flat 2. Can't forget the flat 2, and 1, flat 7, flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, flat 2, 1. Okay, and all the way down in open position, it's going to look like this. So there's our open string. That's Phrygian. Okay, so next up we have Lydian. This is the 4th
degree of the major scale, and when we build this off of the C major, we get F Lydian. Okay, so F is our root note, and here's the form. Scale degrees go like this. Notice how this one's going to be the same as a major scale, but the 4th degree is raised. We have a sharp 4, and that tone is what gives this mode its character. So we have 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1 again. Almost sounds like a major scale, but not quite. We'll keep going. Here's our 2, 3, sharp 4 again. So if you're using this mode, you want to hear that sharp 4 a whole lot to really get the Lydian flavor. Hear that sharp 4, then 5. 6, 7, then 1 again. Okay, I'll do a quick little improv here. So I'm actually going to play an F major 7 shell voicing, because if I play the big F major chord, I think it's going to really clash against this note that I want you to hear. So I'll just play this little major 7 chord, give it a listen. Okay, so here's our 1, 2, 3, sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1 again. Sharp 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. All right, that's Lydian. The 5th mode of the C major scale is called Mixolydian, G Mixolydian, and it looks like this. The defining note of this mode, I believe, is the flatted 7th. So Mixolydian is practically a major scale, but the 7th is flatted. And that's where you get all of the kind of bounce and character and funkiness of the Mixolydian mode. It's that flat 7, right? If it was just a major scale, it would sound, right? Not as funky. So it's all about that flat 7. Here is how it sounds over just a static G major chord. Here's the 1, flat 7, 6, 5, 4. Again, hear how that 4 kind of clashes against that major 3rd that's happening there. Here's a major 3rd. I always want to slide into that major 3rd. Give it some vibrato. Here's a 1. Don't forget about the 2 right there. 1, flat 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Mixolydian. The sixth mode of the C major scale is called A Aeolian, and this is the same as A natural minor. Okay, it looks like this. I believe it's important when you're practicing your modes to stay in position, keep your fingers organized. There's a real temptation to want to grab this B note back here, but if you did that, you'd technically be going out of position. Even though that's a little more comfortable than reaching up here. You know, when we're playing and we're improvising, you can do whatever you want, really, but for practicing purposes, try to keep things nice and tidy. Reach up for that B. Okay, so scale degrees go like this. Again, we're relating all of this to the major scale. The major scale is what I call the standard unit of measurement in music. So whenever we're labeling these, we're using that as our yardstick. Okay, so it's a 1, a 2, and a flatted third. All right, usually well, always in A major, the third is a C sharp. Okay, but in this case, the third is a C natural, which makes it a flatted third, a minor third. So it's 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then 1 again. Hear how much more serious this mode sounds when we compare it to Dorian. Remember, Dorian had that major sixth. Just gives it something else, right? Okay, so we have a flatted 6 here when we talk about Aeolian. We'll keep going from here. 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then 1. Do a quick little improv. This is over a static A minor bar chord. Here it is. Slightly out of tune, but we'll deal with it. Here's your 1, flat 7, flat 6, 5. Carol of the Bells, anybody? 4, flat 3, 2, 1. Flat 7, flat 6, 5, 4, flat 3, 2, 1. Ooh, that 2's nice, right? I think so. Flat 6, again, some might call that an avoid note. A lot of tension. The 5th is a little more agreeable. Flat 3, 2, 1. Okay, and finally the seventh mode of the major scale is called Locrian, and it looks like this. Here's the scale degrees: 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5. Notice this time we're not calling this a sharp 4. Okay, we're calling it a flat 5. Why? Because we already have the 4 right here. Can't have two 4s. Okay, so that's our 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then 1. Here it is in 1 octave. It's kind of like the Phrygian mode, but it has that flatted 5th. Makes it sound extra evil. Okay, if we keep going up from here, 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, oops, sorry. Let's do that again. 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, flat 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. Okay, I'm going to play a minor 7 flat 5 chord, and we can hear how this mode sounds over it. Here's the 1, flat 7, flat 6, flat 5, 4, flat 3, flat 2, 1, flat 7, flat 6, flat 5, 4, flat 3, flat 2, and 1. That's Locrian.
Okay, next we'll take a look at 3 flavors of minor. We have natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. So the first one we've already seen a couple of times, and I'm going to do this out of the key of A and relate it directly to the parallel major. I think that's a really useful way to perceive these scales. Okay, so here's our A major scale first. I'm in the 5th position, and it looks just like this. We got A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. Okay, so to make that a minor scale, we're going to flat the 3rd, flat the 6th, and flat the 7th. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. All right, so this is A natural minor. It's also the same as A Aeolian. Okay, the next one is harmonic minor. So harmonic minor, you can think of it a couple of different ways. You can think of it as a major scale with a flatted 3rd and a flatted 6th, and we retain the major 7th. You could also think of it as a natural minor scale with a raised 7th. Okay, so this is going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp, A. Okay, so I like to think of borrowing the G sharp from major. Oftentimes in A harmonic minor, when it's used in a song or a piece, you'll have an E7 chord, which has that G sharp in it, which is a leading tone back to A. Okay, so that's a very common use of A harmonic minor. And then finally we have a melodic minor, which is basically a major scale with a flatted 3rd. Okay, so this is going to look like this. We'll have A, B, C. Okay, got to have the flatted third. You have to have the minor third in order for it to be a minor scale. We can mess around with everything else, but it's got to have that minor third. So A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. That's our melodic minor. All right, great. Okay, we're going to have some fun with this next one. This is the pentatonic scale. It's every electric guitar player's best friend when we first start to learn how to solo. And I'm going to start with the form that everybody learns when we first start. This is the A minor pentatonic. Okay, so we're going to go up to fret 5 of the low E, and I'm just going to give you fret numbers. I want you to really see how easy this scale is to visualize on the fretboard. Okay, so we start with 5 on the low E, and then 8. Next string, we go 5 and 7. Next string, 5 and 7. Next string, 5 and 7. Next one, 5 and 8. And then 5 on the first string. Yes, 2 full octaves of this scale. Okay, so if we dive in a little bit deeper, we can think of the scale degree numbers. So this scale, this A minor pentatonic, is basically an A minor scale, but we've removed the 2 and we've removed the flatted 6. Okay, so we've taken out the half steps. And for that reason, it's a really good tool to begin to learn how to solo. By not having those half steps in the scale, it cuts out a lot of the chances of kind of landing on a sour note. So it may be a good approach if you're into learning how to solo, is to give yourself an A minor chord and then just start to explore this scale. All right, the scale degrees go like this. You got 1, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 7, and 1. All right, then of course that's going to repeat as we go into the next octave. It's just going to look different because, you know, we're playing guitar. The next string, we got our flat 3, our 5, I'm sorry, our 4, and then our 5, flat 7, and then 1 again. So one way we can add some flavor to the scale is by adding the flatted 5th. We call that the blues note, and when we add that to the scale, it turns into a minor blues scale. So again, same notes as before, our A, our 1, and our flatted 3, our 4, but here's our flatted 5th. We're just going to add that 1 note and then continue on with the rest. Here's 5 again, flatted 7th, and 1. Really fun scale to play. Just listen to it. Just instantly sounds like the blues. Okay, and in the second octave, looks like this. There's our blues note, our flatted 5th. Back up to the 5, the flatted 7th, and then the 1 again. Okay, so it can be really fun to jam with the scale, you know, give yourself an A chord. Yeah, what's really interesting is you can play A minor or A major. And this scale, it just works. Over A minor, or even A major. You'll hear a lot of people kind of blur that line between the minor third and the major third. Really great scale to start working on your vibrato and bends and all those fun electric guitar techniques. Okay, so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this form. So because we understand the whole concept of relative majors and minors, we can change this A minor pentatonic scale to its major relative, which is C, and get C major pentatonic. We'll have all the same notes, all the same fret numbers, but we'll have a new scale available now. Okay, the scale degrees would look like this. We're going to perceive C now as our new 1, and then 2, 3, 5, 6, and 1. Okay, so it's really a really great tool to use to get some different sounds. Okay, so remember the blues note that we had from our A minor. let's bring that note back. And what we'll get is our 1, our 2, and our minor third. All right. So some people think of this scale as like a country blues scale. It has a very kind of country vibe to it. All right. A whole lot of possibilities that we can dive into with this. All right. So if you want to look at the rest of the forms, I have my ebook available where you can look at the other 4 forms of this pentatonic. But you know, there's so much to glean from just this one form. So I would say start here and then slowly introduce each new shape over time. Okay, and have fun with it.